So I'm Optometry Sikra Jamal Khan on the behalf of Optometry Learning. Very warm welcome to all present here, especially our speaker Shruti ma'am. So Shruti ma'am did her bachelor in optometry from Amity University Haryana. She have also completed her master in optometry from Shankar Netralaya Academy, which is affiliated with the Tamil Nadu MGR University Chennai. Currently, she is working with Sankara College of Optometry in Ludhiana as an assistant professor, and her area of interest is research, contact lenses, and low vision. So today she is going to throw the light on a very beautiful and informative topic, writing an effective introduction research paper. So some instruction is here. Do not ask any question in between. Write your questions in chat box. We will attend all questions in end of the session. Please be on mute for the least disturbance. So it will help me out to make this very clear to all. Thank you so much. So Shruti, are you there?
Hi, Ikra, I'm here.
Okay. Thank you so much. All the very best.
I'll just share my screen first. Okay, screen visible?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay. So good evening, everyone, and thank you, Ikra, for having me. So my name is Shruti Dagar. I am working as an assistant professor at Sankara College of Optometry, Ludhiana. Our topic for discussion today is writing an effective introduction for your research paper. So why is this hype of publishing? Since most of you are working at hospitals, or either you are students still studying, or you're working in academics. So why do we need this publishing papers? So we read papers while for exams, or we need to find more information about some treatment or some disease. This is why we need these published papers. It helps to improve your medical care. It helps to promote thought or debate. This thought and debate is like, for example, I think this contact lens might not work. It's just a placebo effect. But on the other hand, someone is working with that contact lens tells that this is working very good for my patients. It is helping them in this treatment. So this is how it is promoting your own thoughts or debates. So it also adds to your existing knowledge, and it also provides an evidence for policies on health development. So there is this thing called if you don't publish, you perish. So if you are working in academics, there is a pressure to publish in your academic field in order to succeed or more in this universe. So I'll help you out today in writing your introduction for your publications. So in this orders of section in your research paper, we follow this IMRAD format. This is I means your introduction. Introduction means what did you do or what did others do or what did you do it or why did you do it. M is your methods. Methods means how did you do that research. R is your results. Results means what did you find. Then we have is D is your discussion and your conclusion. That means what does this all mean? I'll explain all of this again. So in your, this is your IMRAD format. This is usually what we follow when writing a scientific paper. So first is your introduction. Introduction means what is known, what previous knowledge you already have about that area of expertise. Then second is your knowledge gap that needs to be filled. That means what is unknown, what you are going to find. Third is your rationale or hypothesis. That is how and why we are going to fill that gap. Fourth is your methodology. That means what did you do for this procedure? Then we have your result. Result means what did you find out, what did you get? And sixth is your discussion. So this will tell you how the results bridge your gap. Last is your conclusion. That means what does this all mean for us going forward? So what is known? That means your introduction. So introduction is your strong statement reflecting your research subject area. This states the area of your interest. For example, we have a photograph on the right hand side. This research was on the global prevalence of childhood cataract. In their introduction, they started with the definition of cataract. That is, cataract is defined as an opacity of crystalline lens. And they also wrote about the prevalence that was already done in previous studies. So here, what is known means what was cataract and what prevalence they already had. In this, we will also see the information on research question that was explored in your study. And you state here only the relevant information and the broader facts. And you begin your keywords from your title. For example, in this as well, your title is Global Prevalence of Childhood Cataract. This started with defining what is cataract. And later on, in moreover, going down, they told you what is the older prevalence. So this is all we are giving the background information. Second is what is unknown. That means your knowledge gap. So here we will point out the problems associated with the condition or the disease you are undertaking. And I will your maybe or where your research and how will your research with this hold. For example, we'll see this article here. We'll see the first line. That is, they developed a testing tool in EMP. That means this is what they are going to do. This new thing they are going to perform, this testing protocol or fill up the gap that was previously there.
Sorry to interrupt. Shruti Mama, your voice is not clear actually.
My voice is not clear.
Now it's better.
Better. Okay. Should I explain the last slide again or should I continue?
Better to clear it again,
Yes, ma'am.
Please.
Okay. So I'll just explain your last slide again. That is what is unknown. Unknown means your knowledge, research, rationally that you need to find. So in this, you point out the problems associated with the condition or the disease. So will your research, your new research would make any difference in this? So we have an example on the side. The first line you see, they developed a testing tool. So this is how they are going to solve the problem. They found a gap and they solved the problem by finding a new research tool or a new protocol they are going to find. So this is your research gap. Then we move forward. Additionally, in your unknown, we will see you report the recent finding in your field, whatever recent finding you found. Then you cite the pioneering work, the older good works that you can see. You cite them in your research. Then you refer to controversial findings. Controversial findings means sometimes you will oppose their decision or their work. Sometimes you are with them. So you can point out both the things in your introduction. And then you state what logical step can be developed based on the existing literature. So this whole thing means map the gap. Then we have is your rationale or hypothesis. So this is how and why should we fill the gap. So here you state the purpose, that is the aim of the study. So on the right hand side, you see this photograph. This is a study on eye movement perimetry, and they wrote very clearly the aim of the study was to compare the clinical performance of this EMP method. They directly stated their purpose and their study. And your research, so your research questions should be in 1 or 2 sentences, not more than that. You don't want your reader to be confused. And you mention your benefits or usefulness of the study in this as well. So basically, this is your research questions and their objectives. So moving forward is what did you do? This means your methodology. Methodology in this you will have the type of research you conducted. It can be a prospective, your retrospective, it's a clinical trial. Whatever research you are conducting, you have to write that down. Then with that, you will write how you collected the data and you analyze the data. Like what some sampling technique you followed, and then analysis is what you did. Did you do in SPSS? What type of study you did? All that you have to write it down. Any tools or materials you use, for example, you use contact lens in your study or you use the vision therapy software, you have to write that down in your methodology. Then how you mitigated or avoided your research biases, this you have to note it down, and why did you choose these methods if you want to point out. Then we have the results. So what results did you get? So your results should always be very simple and in clear language for your readers to understand. The finding of the study must be expressed in an objective and unbiased manner. That means you should ensure negative results are also included. It's okay if your results showed something negative or did not show something you were trying to find. It's all right, but you still have to write that in your thesis or your article. And in your results, try to incorporate as many as tables, figures, charts, illustrations in your research paper. So moving forward, last is your conclusion. In conclusion, it is what does this mean for us to going forward? Your conclusion should contain the new information. This will engage in idle discussion and it should be emotional instead of analytical because you are ending this your research in this finally. So it's not a summary of your research paper. And your research paper conclusion is the opposite of your introduction. It's not just a placement, but also in your structure. So you should understand there is a major difference between your discussion and your introduction. Discussion is all what you all did, your result, everything concluding in your discussion. Introduction is how you're starting it. So we'll move forward on how you're going to write a introduction. So a research paper introduction is the initial section of the paper where you will set the context, you state the problem and present the thesis statement. So a good introduction for a research paper can be the most challenging part for some people in your entire work, and it should present your topic, your literature background, your novelty of the research, the relevance of why you are doing this research, all your hypothesis, and whole structure of the study is based on your introduction. So to understand why a great introduction matters, I'll give an example. For example, you are going with a friend. She invited you with you for a coffee and she said one of my other friend is going to come. You all met together, you all sat down. The other friend said, I want to tell you about a major goal in my life. Even before introducing herself, even before telling her name, you don't know anything about the person and she's just trying to tell you some heavy stuff right now. So how would you feel? It will be very awkward for you. So that is why introduction is important. So you need to warm up to introduce the readers what you are trying to say this time. So we have 4 steps. First is to draw your readers in. Then you will zoom in on your topic and its importance. Third is to explain how you'll add new knowledge. Fourth is to tell readers what they will find in your paper. So we'll start with the first one. First is to get your readers' attention. So to speak to your readers effectively, you need to know who they are. So consider who is likely to read your paper and the extent of knowledge on that topic. For example, we are optometrists. So who is going to read a paper? There will be optometry students. We will have ophthalmologists reading the paper, academicians, PhD scholars who are doing some studies on this, ophthalmic technicians. They are going to read that paper. So on that basis, you will write your research. And you have to consider who is likely to read the paper and the extent of their knowledge. So a PhD scholar should also be able to understand and a student should also be able to understand what you're trying to tell. And you should start with some interesting fact if you want, but always keep it formal. So your key questions will be who is your audience and who will your paper talk about, what will your paper talk about, and what will grab your audience interest in this topic. So it should be a new topic, not something that has been already done many times. Then step 2 is explain why your topic matters. Your readers want to understand the background of your research. So this part will be shorter than your literature review, but you can explore some kind of connection and theme to make sure to cite them. And the information you provide should have a factual foundation for the research. That means your key question should include why should readers care about your topic, or what do readers need to know to understand your research. For example, you are writing something about the new uh, vision therapy software. So you have to write the basics about it. What new things are there in that? Then what have other researchers said about the same topic, and what is the field's overall view of this topic? Your step 3 is lay out your argument and plan. After showing your reader the existing knowledge of the topic, you can turn on how your paper will contribute to the new topic. That means you are going to tie your research to the previous research. This is a very important aspect in that. So here you can tell the purpose and main idea of your research. So your key question would be, how does your research relate to the studies you described in your step 2? Or what question are you aiming to answer, or what is your research problem you are trying to solve? You can write in this area. And what method you will use to answer this question, you can write in this area. In short. Then your last step, your fourth step, is to define your direction. So you can add a sentence or a few sentences. You can describe the section of your paper in order or main idea it will cover. And it will be different in your dissertation and your normal research article as well. So your key questions will be, what goal will each section of your paper accomplish? And what should the readers take away from your paper? So moving forward, the 4 key objectives are, first is the big picture. That means your context of your work and why it matters. Your second objective is to establish your aim or hypothesis. This should be very clear in your research paper. Then we have to map the gap in the literature that that your work will fill. And the last objective is to set up the discussion to make the readers think, what is done, what is new going to happen here. Then writing the introduction. So when you're writing an introduction, we have a beginning and the end. So when you're writing in the beginning, this is your chance to grab your reader's attention to the topic. So when you're writing the beginning, you should never start with, in this paper I will do this, or this paper is about that. No, you don't use those words. You have to stay strong and you have to prepare the reader with exciting information. You can directly state the facts when you are beginning the introduction. Your middle sentences, this part will cover your different points of your research. So yes, you don't have to include every single thing. If you have already planned in what order to present your facts in the research, you already know how to organize your idea. So keep it factual. Last sentence will be whatever your previous sentences have been building up to your hypothesis. So your last sentence should be express the overall idea and show a supposed statement that you are testing. Your word limits. Okay? And your introduction should always be in paragraph and it should not be too wide. Not many lines should be there. So as an original article, you can write 3 to 5 paragraphs, but it might change depending on what journal you are going to publish. In case you are publishing in IGO, sometimes they have word limit around less than 200 or something. So you can write many paragraphs in that. 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs is enough. And usually you keep one single space. Around 400 to 900 words should be there. And there is no subheadings in your introduction. So think in paragraphs and write in paragraphs. As I said, this is your introduction. This is like an essay or summary of your whole thesis. So you have to write in paragraphs. You have to begin with the paragraph that will grab your reader's attention And the other paragraph should always start with the key point that you are going to elaborate in that area. So then we are going to think about your citations. Citations is very important in when you are writing an introduction or a research overall. So to produce a citation for any kind of material in any style, you need four pieces. First is your author, your date of publication, your title, and your publication details. That is your edition, in which volume it was published, number of volume, by who is the publisher or the company. So this is an example. So for example, if you're searching in Google Scholar, whatever condition you write, for example, cataract prevalence, you find the first article, the article you want to read or cite. There you have this word cite. You can see the circle in under the circle. Just click on that. We'll have all these different citation styles. Usually we follow APA or Vancouver, but it depends on your institution or your college. When you're doing project, they'll tell you to follow one citation method. You can just click on this and copy it. And you have to cite responsibly, because when you cite your primary references, there should be abundantly but responsibly. That means you don't have to cite many references in one whole sentence. You can keep one or two references in a sentence or a paragraph. And you can cite your competitors. For example, someone did a study and said this myopia control glasses do not work, but you are doing a study on how they are working wonderfully for your patient. You can cite those articles as well that are saying negative about the device you're working with. And you can mention controversies. Someone said this, but you are going against it. You can mention that as well. And you give importance to previous pioneering work. Previous good works you can cite as well. So your technical tips will be you have to use an active voice. You should be very concise and clear. You have to make shorter sentences, not long sentences. You don't want to confuse your readers. And avoid using phrases or adjectives like novel, first ever study, or paradigm changing. Like these words, try to avoid these words. Keep it very formal. And you should avoid using first person pronoun. Person pronouns means I, we, I did this. Like this, you should avoid these words. And use funneling your thoughts from broad to specific. You don't have to tell them everything, but you should still state out some statement. So common mistake is history starting from Adam. This means if you are writing about, for example, if I'm writing about some type of contact lens, in your introduction, you don't have to write the history of contact lens. Contact lens was invented by this guy, he invented in this year. No need for that. Just write the features of that contact lens. Then you can write the details of your previous studies. You can write the abbreviation without your full forms. Yes, if you want to add abbreviation, you can, but you have to, for example, if you want to use the word CL for contact lens. So the first time you use the word contact lens, write in bracket CL, and the next time you are using it, you can write the details of your result and the conclusions, and you can intermix it with the discussion. So when to write your introduction? So your introduction should be written at the end. Once I'll just show this pyramid, you see half is inverted and half is upright. So inverted means first you will find out your hypothesis. What you want to tell the person. What is your hypothesis? That this device will help the patient. You see the knowledge gap. This device, whatever is unknown. And then you go forward the introduction. So once you have done all of this till 2 to 7, you can go and write your introduction, because your introduction will change if you are going to change your hypothesis, or sometimes while working you want to change your methodology. Your introduction will also change. That's why you should always try to write it at the end. So to summarize, we have to keep it smooth. That means a good flow will help the readers follow your logic, or as you go from step 1 to step 4, they should understand what you are talking about. Then you have to keep it brief. So you usually in short all the articles, but it is usually longer in discussion, their dissertation, and do it at the last. It is basically a summary, so it's better to write at the end, because of other section in your paper may involve while writing them, so you might have to change it. That's why you do it at the end. So these are my references, and thank you. So do we have any questions?